While Mjolnir was the pinnacle of UNSC design for enhancing a human, it was far from humanity's first or last attempt. As Mjolnir could only be used by enhanced individuals such as the Spartans, it wouldn't be long before other projects returned to the powered exoskeletons of the past in the hopes of not only enhancing normal soldiers, but turning the tide against the Covenant threat. In our last UNSC Armament video, we talked about the 3 powered exoskeletons that preceded Mjolnir, the Marks 1, 2, and 3. While all capable of enhancing human capacity greatly, they were held back by their respective static power supplies. To learn about that, see my video on Mjolnir, link in the top right and in the description. Though abandoned in 2510, the Mark III exoskeleton would see a second life of sorts with Project HRUNTING. Begun in 2513 on Algolis, the development team made their own breakthroughs, eventually creating a B variant of the Mark III known as the HRUNTING Mark III-B exoskeleton, or Cyclops. Unlike its predecessors, the Cyclops wasn't intended for combat, but would serve as logistical support, providing aid in areas such as construction, material transport, terraforming, and dock work. It would find a particular popularity in the Marine Corps early on. The Cyclops was much larger than its predecessors too, standing at 4.3 meters or 14.2 feet tall. The head was in fact a cockpit for the driver, who manipulated the suit with more traditional controls rather than quote-unquote wearing the exoskeleton like previous generations. As time went on, other variants of the Cyclops would be made, some marketed towards civilian agencies, others being armed and up-armored for combat roles. These primarily included the Mark III-B2, an unofficial modification of the standard model, with redesigned feet and a sealed cockpit. They also often replaced the expensive fusion power pack with hydrogen-burning turbines or heavy-density power cells. The Mark III-B1, an upgraded model produced by Hannibal Weapon Systems, featuring composite armor plating and hardpoints for weapon installation. This found particular popularity with paramilitary forces on the cities of Earth. And finally, the Mark III M1, an armed and multi-purpose assault platform produced by Lethbridge Industrial. It featured heavy weapon hardpoints on the shoulders and titanium A plating. It is currently undergoing field trials with the UNSC Army. And beyond these standardized builds would be a number of sub-variants suited for different tasks, including natural environments, off-world mining and salvage, and even police forces. When the Spirit of Fire arrived at the Ark in 2559, they found that Serena had modified their stock of Cyclopses during the extended period of cryo. These new exosuits, based on designs by Lethbridge Industrial that Serena had come across during the Battle of Arcadia, were weaker than the original model but faster and easier to control. The Cyclops has seen limited appearances in the fiction, generally restricted to the Halo Wars series. However, in the 2010 edition of Halo the Flood, a previously unidentified UNSC mech was identified as a Cyclops, showing that the exosuit would see use into the final years of the Human Covenant War. Moving on, sometime after the establishment of the Cyclops, another project, YGGDRASIL, was launched to re-engineer key technologies developed as part of Project Mjolnir for mass production and systems integration with new and existing UNSC vehicles. Project YGGDRASIL would, as part of its effort, work off the successes of Project HRUNTING, developing a new exosuit, the HRUNTING YGGDRASIL Mark I Armor Defense System, or ADS. The fruits of this labor were a powered exoskeleton capable of being piloted by a standard UNSC soldier. Composed of titanium alloy for maximum protection, the suit was armed with a number of weapon systems. A T-261 Lucifer arm-mounted Gatling gun, which also featured an integrated grenade launcher, 5 LAU 1080/SGM-151 missile tubes, the launcher for which was mounted over the right shoulder, an M149 Magellan recoilless rifle mounted over the left shoulder, 6 Type 18 claymores, and a 300 megaton fission self-destruct device. Unlike the Cyclops, this new ADS much more strongly resembled not only its exoskeleton predecessors, but also Mjolnir. The armor also used a heavily modified Mjolnir HUD, but stuck to simple laser and radio communications technology. In terms of protection, the armor featured a shielding system that heavily resembled the core technology behind the bubble shield. These shields would automatically engage when the suit came under fire rather than being perpetually maintained like with Mjolnir. In the end, only one prototype of the armor was made, which ended up costing even more than Mjolnir. When Algolis, the planet that housed the project, was discovered by the Covenant late in the war, the prototype briefly saw action, but was ultimately destroyed as part of the Cole Protocol. Despite this, not all data on the armor system was lost, leading to the limited development of a J variant. We see it in a non-canon setting in Halo Wars 2, but its actual development history remains unknown. Sometime after the fall of Algolis, Project Yggdrasil would continue with the development of the HRUNTING Yggdrasil Mark II ADS. A D variant of this armor would take a radical direction shift in terms of design. This particular armor system, dubbed the Mega Mantis, featured arm-mounted machine guns and missile launchers. The canopy was completely enclosed, providing greater protection to the pilot, and the mech stood at a whopping 19.4 meters, or 64 feet, tall. Whether this saw use on the battlefield remains unknown. By 2557, Project Yggdrasil had produced and fielded the HRUNTING Yggdrasil Mark IX ADS, aka the Mantis. Essentially a smaller version of the Mark II-D, standing 5.7 meters or 18.6 feet tall, the Mantis was armed with an M655 20mm heavy machine gun and an M5920 35mm surface-to-air missile launcher. It also incorporated a number of Mjolnir original technologies such as energy shields, a neural interface link, and a compact fusion power plant. The Mantis' weapons could not be swapped out, however, though the UNSC has contracted Materials Group to produce a refit package for alternate loadouts. By 2558, if not earlier, other variants of the Mantis were in development or service in some manner. These included the Core Mantis, a model meant for security riot control among other roles. The munitions in this model would be swapped for non-lethal alternatives. Tundra, woodland, and urban mantises for a variety of combat environments. The Oni Mantis, a variant exclusive to the Office of Naval Intelligence. It features additional armor, multi-environment homing missiles, and better heat sink shrouds for the machine gun. And the Hannibal Mantis, a unique prototype currently in development by Hannibal Weapons Systems. It is armed with a rapid-fire Gauss cannon and experimental ion field missile warheads that unleash submunitions. It features stronger energy shields than most models, but weaker armor than the Oni Mantis. In addition, modified variants have been produced by Spirit of Fire during their fight with the Banished on the Ark. Their baseline Mantis largely features the same standard armament, but can be upgraded with a repeating Gauss cannon and a laser target designator to coordinate attacks. It lacks the neural linking capability of the standard model due to the Spirit of Fire's older manufacturing technology. A specialized Mantis has also been produced to aid now Commander Jerome 092 as he leads Spirit forces. This Mantis features numerous enhancements to weaponry and capability, including a command and control nexus relay, effectively making this Mantis a mobile commander post and backup battlenet relay. Finally, our last exoskeleton is the recently introduced Colossus. Little is known at this time about the unit's history, only that it was designed by Materials Group and Hannibal Weapons Systems and is primarily used by the UNSC Army. Towering over the battlefield, the Colossus is known to have some relationship to the HRUNTING Yggdrasil Mark II-D. Though its size makes it slow and cumbersome, its long-range railgun and autocannon make it a deadly threat in the field. And that wraps up our look at all known UNSC exosuits. For as much research and development as the military right now is putting into exosuits and enhancement, the UNSC's use of such suits is relatively brief, with widespread use only coming about after the Covenant War ended. But what is there is fascinating, at least in my opinion, and perhaps in a future video I could explore why it seems to be this way. But that's a topic for another day. For now, what do you think of the various exosuits the UNSC has produced over the years? Which one's your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, this has been Halo Canon. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribing, and sharing it around. You are the reason I get to keep doing this, so thank you, profusely thank you.